So I tweeted out today, and I said, not sure where Lamar Jackson winds up, but it's definitely not here in Atlanta. And I said, hey, Falcon fans, let's all get behind Ritter. And immediately, the negative Nellies, good luck selling this one. Well, guys, as we said to Andy to start the show, anytime Carl and I would bellyache about something in our careers to our old agent who looked like Ben Franklin, and your agent's good when he's on the $100 bill, he would always say, Boopy, there's the world you want, and there's the world you live in. And the world we live in, they're rolling with Desmond Ritter. They're going to build up this offensive line. There's still work to be done. Maybe McGarry comes back. Maybe we get an upgrade. Maybe we get an even spot. But they're going to
Or they might roll with Taylor Heineke.
Right. That's just it. And Heineke may have a shot to compete for this job if Ritter doesn't do his job this spring and summer. But I know what you want, and they're not doing it. So you can bellyache and you can complain, and I get it after 5 years without the playoffs, 2 years, Rob, was 7-10. There's a lot of unhappy campers. So I can tell you this: no matter what they were going to do, there was always going to be a large section of the self-described fan base, because a lot of these fans drift in and drift out. But the hardcore fans, I'm not sure who's ever going to be happy with anything these guys do.
Well, that's just the way it goes. I think they added some sexy pieces, though.
Right.
I mean, Keneen Ellis, versatile linebacker. Jonnu Smith, pretty good tight end. Now you can put Kyle Pitts, line him up basically anywhere.
Right.
You get Jesse Bates, pretty good safety. So, okay, it's a start. What does this mean for the draft, though?
Well, that's just it. Don't know. And there's still work to be done. And the good news is, if you're looking for that, if you want a burner or you want a slot guy, because, Zacchaeus says you're looking for another receiver, at least one, maybe two, the market is super duper soft. Everybody's finding that, from the Odell Beckhams of the world to the McCall Hardmans, that nobody's getting signed at wide receiver right now.
Well, it seems like what they did in free agency, that kind of corresponds with a weakness at these positions in the draft. So these were positions of need. But, it's not a strong linebacking core in the draft, apparently. A defensive tackle, yes, pretty deep, but that remains to be seen. And there you go.
We talked about this at length, Rob, you, me, Carl. I mean, a lot of fans saying the same thing. Just wanted more of Desmond Ritter last season, so you could, at least as a fan, you want to call it an educated guess, or at least have more of a feel for what the guy is. Look, if you put Desmond Ritter in San Francisco, could he do what Brock Purdy does? I don't know. Both guys have a very similar background. One guy was drafted in the 7th round. One guy was drafted in the 3rd. One guy played.
And Taylor Heineke wasn't drafted.
Right. And Heineke's one of these guys like a Romo, who's just that guy. One guy said, what's the difference between to go with Mariota and Heineke? And I said, well, off the top of my head, Heineke won't quit. So we'll see where that goes. But I get it. There's a lot of, I don't know. I wouldn't say, I was negative yesterday and I flushed it out. I did 2 or 3 hours of bellyache and we didn't get Hargrave. And now it's time to turn the page, because it's not happening.
You have moved on.
Lamar Jackson is not happening. So you guys want to bellyache and moan about it. Carl and I gave it all the attention, and some felt it was too much attention. But he's still a compelling figure. You have to talk about it, because when a guy like that is potentially up for grabs, you discuss it.
Well, it's a sexy conversation topic, man. Of course it is. The idea of him possibly coming here. And a lot of people would talk about how, they couldn't necessarily afford. Yeah, you can. There's ways of doing it where you move money around. I think it's the guaranteed money signing bonuses, which can really kind of throw a wrench into your salary cap. There's ways to manipulate it.
I think two things. The Lamar Jackson, what we did, if you listen to the show, I played devil's advocate in much of the conversation, but he's still intriguing. And I do know they would put fannies in the seats and the vibe would be electric. Now, what your ceiling would be, because you'd be limited in everything else you want to do in free agency, limited with salary cap after coming out of salary cap hell. Yep. So that would be the reality. You'd have to really be, let's be honest, Rob, bulletproof and be perfect with everything you do.
But what would you do with his customary 5 games he misses every year?
There's the rub.
That's what I'm worried about.
The 10 games, if this was the guy 3 years ago, I would have said, hell yeah. I would have driven to Baltimore and driven him over here. Best. But this is now not happening. So get your head around it. And the funny thing, I just want to lay this out. There are folks in this town that love to get on social media, and like SquidBilly, we talk about it. Sometimes it's just not worth going down that rabbit hole. You guys aren't Falcon fans. You would have been a Falcon fan if they drafted Lamar Jackson, but you're not a Falcon fan, so you don't get a seat at the table. So you can bellyache all you want and sit there and be a provocateur, but you don't pay for tickets, or you don't watch or go to your local sports bar to watch these guys.
All their favorite teams are in different cities. I love the Lakers, I love the Buccaneers, and I love the Seattle Mariners.
I was
Who does that sound like?
just going to say, so wear your Yankee hat and your LeBron jersey and go blank yourself, because you're not a Falcons fan, so you don't matter. Now, we could have the big discussion about where Lamar goes and what Lamar was saying on social media. We'll do that in the Blitz. But now you just get your head around, where are we going? What are we doing? So now, what do you think is the next move for this team?
I don't know. Free agency opens tomorrow, right?
Yeah, this was just the part we could talk about.
This is the
Do you have any? If McGarry comes back and the contract is similar to what Wiley signed, a little bit, it'll be more than Wiley, but it would not be McGlinchey or certainly Orlando Brown money.
Not
would
that
you
at
be
all.
interested in bringing McGarry back?
Certainly. But how much better can he get, though, as a pass protector? He certainly can. Road grader's an offensive as a run blocker, but that other thing, if you don't have that ability, I don't think you can necessarily coach him up. You can do all the technique you want, but if you don't have the innate talent to do it, I don't think you can get there.
What do you think of Onyemata signing?
That's not bad. He's a capable pass rusher, right?
Right. Top 10?
It's not
Top
sexy.
10 as far as defensive tackles?
I mean, that's a nice. There's some good pieces along that line. Nothing sexy yet, but like I said, though, I mean, these free agent signings, they seem to be in areas where the draft is weak. So does this mean at number 8 they're going to get a Paris Johnson or a Broderick Jones out of Georgia? That's what I wonder. I'm not sure.
There's a couple. There's two, like every other draft. You got the elite tier of offensive linemen, elite tier supposedly of edge rushers. Although I never heard of Tyree Wilson until like the combine started rolling. But you've got a lot of guys that are perceived to be the first round. Then there's that second round. Like last year, Ebiketie was that second tier edge rusher.
Well, I've seen a lot of pundits describe the draft this year. After the top 12 guys, there's really not much difference between the last part of the first round and all the way up to the beginning of the third round. It depends on what you really want.
Now, we know there's good corners in this draft, and I just mentioned there's good defensive, to your point. There's about 12 to 15, depending on how you look at it, good edge rushers. We've got a bunch of edge rushers here on this team. That's why I was pushing for Hargrave. Just I thought he'd be a guy that would make that line so much better. Maybe the younger guys would pop. But Onyemata also comes with experience with the defensive coordinator's defense. So,
and he's interior, too, and he's a good pass rusher, capable pass rusher from the interior. So if you want to get it on the outside, the edge as well, complement those pieces together. I think this is probably coming together better, a lot more, better than people think it actually is. I can't get that damn sentence out. What the hell's wrong with me?
Well, I mean, you look like you're partying last night, if I'm honest.
I didn't party last night.
Chris, you look like he's partying? Look like he's throwing down last night? Chris, the engineer / producer.
I'd say he had over under 2.5 cocktails.
2.5?
I had 2.
I mean, I'm not putting your business on the street. I'm just... I know you spring ahead, you lose an hour of sleep. It does, it does take a
big
little
argument
bit.
with the girlfriend, too, last night. That's a little draining.
Oh, no. Well, that happens.
Well, we'll figure it out.
Yeah,
one way or another.
If not, you're quite a catch.
Well, thank you, sir. I do feel pretty today with my boy band hat on.